to calculate, it is stored in the variable called range. And whatever is the coefficient of range, for example, range divided by maximum plus minimum. Clear with this? So what is the use of this range? If I want to find some range, so I can go for this range. So I was discussing with you about range. What is the use of range function? And someone asked me about dynamic arrays, right? So what is the use of going for dynamic array? So here dynamically, if I want to add some elements, I am defining some inbuilt functions. Whenever I want to define any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. It is prepended by the public access modifier. So I can go for different types of access modifiers. It is prepended by the public access modifier. I am going to discuss with you about access modifiers in detail. So here I am going for this public access modifier. And inside this I am defining different variables, private, int, count and size of arrays. So all these are the different types of variables. So dynamic array example, for I am just initializing this constructor. New int of 1, count equal to 0, size of the array, I am just giving this variable, size of the array equal to 1. And public void add element. Whenever I want to add some element, I am going to create a function, it appends an element at the end. I am passing an integer value, so integer parameter, this is given as an input to this add element. So if count equal to size of array, so grow size, whenever I want to grow this, I am having this grow size, an array of count equal to a and count plus plus. Similarly, I am having grow size, so I am defining separate functions for performing different types of operations. And I am having add element at. So inside this, for example, public static void main, the argument is passed as a string array. Always the JVM comes in, the program execution starts from the main function. So inside this, I am trying to create an object, that is I am trying to create a variable of this type, dynamic array example 1 equal to new dynamic array example. So whenever I want to create any object, so I have to use the class name followed by the name of the variable. So I am trying to create an object of this class type equal to new dynamic array example, and using this object using dot operator, so I am just adding some element. So da dot add element 12, for example, I am adding element as 22. So whichever inbuilt functions I have to call, so using this variable name using dot operator, I am calling the corresponding inbuilt element. For example, I am calling this add element. So whenever I want to add some elements, I am adding different elements inside this variable. So da dot, I am calling this inbuilt function called add element function. So I am going for this for loop for int I equal to 0, so I less than da dot size of day. For example, first one is the initialization section, the second one is the condition checking, and the third one is the incrementation. So size of the array, so whatever is the size of array, I am just giving the array size da dot count. So whenever I want to add some elements using this variable name using dot operator, I am just calling here as add element at. Clear with this? So how to add dynamically? Yesterday someone asked me some examples, right? What is the range of an array? How to find the range of an array? How to add elements to the array dynamically? So till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. Any queries? About different types of conditional statements, what is the use of ternary operator, what is the use of simple if statement, if else structure, nested if statements. So and then I discussed with you about switch statement. So what is the use of going for switch statement? Whenever I have to have multiple else blocks or multiple case blocks, I need to go for switch statement. And then I gave some introduction to arrays. So I just started with arrays. Today I am going to continue with arrays. What are all the different types of arrays? So I am going to give you some more examples of arrays and then I will proceed with the next concepts. So what do you mean by an array? Anybody can tell me? One minute. I just started with arrays. Today I am going to continue. So what do you mean by an array? An array is nothing but a collection of similar type of elements. So it is nothing but a homogeneous collection of data elements. So collection of similar type of elements, it is called as an array. Say for example, I want to print out some collection of numbers 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So I want to print out some collection of numbers. Or if I want to print some employee names or student names. In all such cases, I can go for an array. So whenever I want to fetch some records from the database, I want to fetch some employee records or if I want to fetch some student records. So I am going to store some 5 numbers inside my array. For example, I am having 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So there are 2 different types of arrays. So the first one is called as a single dimensional array and one more is called as a multi-dimensional array. So what do you mean by a single dimensional array? So from the name you can just understand. So I have some 5 elements inside my array. So I have 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So all these are the different elements that are stored inside my array. So I am going to point the array index always starts from 0. So at the 0th location I am having the element as 10, at the first location, second, third, fourth. So all these are the different elements that are stored inside my array. Here with this, for example, if I want to fetch some age values. So an array is nothing but a collection of similar type of elements. It is nothing but a homogeneous collection of data elements. Collection of similar type of elements, it is called as an array. So this is one simple example of an array, a single dimensional array. Whenever I want to create any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So it is prepended by the public access modifier. So I can go for different types of access modifiers. I can go for public access, private access, protected. So all these are the different types of access modifiers. So it is prepended by the public access modifier. So I am just going inside public static void main. The argument is passed as a stringer. Always the JVM comes in, the program execution starts from the main method. So I am just giving here public static void main. The argument is passed as a stringer. So always the JVM comes in, the program execution starts from the main method. And inside this, I am initializing this number array. Say for example, int number array of new int of 5. Whenever I want to initialize any array, it is prepended by the corresponding data type. I can initialize a number array. So it is prepended by the integer data type. Similarly, it can be prepended by a floating point type or it can be prepended by different data types. If I want to store some character constants, it can be prepended by a char data type. Whatever type of elements I want to store inside my array, it is prepended by the corresponding data type. So int num array of equal to new int of 5. So whatever is the data type, it is prepended by the corresponding data type number array. So what is the use of this new keyword? So whenever I want to initialize any new array, so new whatever is the data type, I am giving the corresponding data type here. So number array of 0, so number array of 1, 2, 3, 4. So whenever I want to initialize some elements at the corresponding index locations, I need to initialize some values, elements inside my number array. So number array of 0, array of 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I am going for a for loop. So for int I equal to 0, the first comes the initialization section, and then I am checking for some condition. So I less than number array dot length and then I plus plus. So what are the different sections that are present in the for loop? The first one is the initialization section. For int I equal to 0, semicolon, followed by the condition I less than number array dot length condition, and the next one is the incrementation or the decrementation. So I am incrementing this I value. And whenever I want to print something at the output, system.out.println, so number array of I. So what are the different elements that are stored inside my number array? This will be printed at my output. So array is one important concept. You can imagine whenever I am developing some website, what is the use of different types of Java concepts? So whenever I am developing some websites, so if I want to print some age values, collection of age values, or if I want to print some student names, so it can be a collection of strings, it can be a collection of characters. Whatever type of collection I want to print, accordingly I can go for different types, data types. So whatever type of array, accordingly it is prepended by the corresponding data type. Say for example, I am fetching, you are developing a website for a corporate company. I want to print out some employee names. So I am going to print out some employee names. I can go for this employee string. It is prepended by the corresponding data type. So accordingly, I need to initialize a string array and I can store some values. Clear with this? So let me just show you one more example of arrays so that you will understand this better. So there are two different types of arrays. The first one is a single dimensional array, and one more is a multi-dimensional array. So let me just show you one more example of arrays. So I am just giving here as array example. So always the program execution starts from the main method. Public static void main, the argument is passed as a string array. So the JVM comes in, the program execution starts from the main method. So I am just initializing here as 5. So whenever I want to initialize any type of array, it is prepended by the data type followed by the name of the array. So here I am just having simple bracket, open bracket and close bracket, new string. Whenever I want to initialize any type of array, I am just giving the new keyword followed by the corresponding data type. So new string of within square bracket, whatever is the size of the array, I am just mentioning the corresponding array size. For example, I am just giving here as Sam. I am giving here as John. So whatever is the value I want to initialize, I am just initializing the corresponding value here. I am just giving here as Catty. what are all the names I want to initialize? I can initialize like this. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I am just initializing some value. Alright. So I can just initialize some names like this. It is prepended. It is after doing like this for int I equal to 0, I less than or equal to array of I. So I am just giving here system.out.println. So whatever is stored in my array, so this will be printed at my output. So all these are the different types of operation. There is no type of array. It is called as a multi-dimensional array. So the first type of array is a single dimensional array and the second type of array is a multi-dimensional array. Let me just show you one more example. So what is the use of going for this multi-dimensional array? So far I was discussing with you about a single dimensional array. So next I am going to talk with you about multi-dimensional array. Whenever I want to create any new array, I am creating a new Java class. So whatever is the class name, I am just mentioning the corresponding class name here. Alright, so let me just show you one more example. So whenever I want to define any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. I am just giving here as multi-array example. So whatever is the class name, I am just mentioning the corresponding class name here. It is prepended by the public access modifier. So I can go for different types of access modifiers. So initially I am just discussing with you about public access modifier. So I can go for public access modifier, I can go for private, I can go for protected. All these are the different types of access modifiers available in Java language. So it is prepended by the public access modifier. So mostly whenever I am going to develop any kind of applications, it is public access modifier. So whenever I want any class or method or whenever I want any of these to be visible globally, I need to go for this public access modifier. And inside this I am defining a main method. So public static void main, the argument is passed as a stringer. So always the JVM comes in, the program execution starts from the main method. So I am just initializing a number array. So the first dimension denotes the row dimension and the second dimension denotes the column dimension. Whenever I want to initialize any array, so I am just giving here as number array. The first one is the row dimension and the second one is the column dimension. It is prepended by the corresponding data type. So I can go for different data types. I can go for integer data type, I can go for a floating point type, so I can go for a string data type. It is prepended by the integer data type. So whenever I want to print some elements in a matrix, row and column, so I can go for this two-dimensional, that is multi-dimensional array. So the first one is called as a single dimensional array. The second one is called as a multi-dimensional array. So inside this you can just see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and then 7, 8, 9. So it is separated by comma and I am going for a for loop. For int I equal to 0, the first one is the initialization condition, semicolon. Next I am checking for some condition. So I less than 3 and I plus plus. So the first one is the initialization. So I am just initializing the value of this variable. So for int I equal to 0, semicolon, and then I am checking for some condition. So I less than 3 and the third one is the incrementation or the decrementation. So first for loop it is used for iterating through the row and the second for loop it is used for iterating through the column. So again I am just using the for keyword and then I am giving here. So system.out.print, for example, number array of I and j. So whatever is stored in the row dimension and column dimension, so this will be printed at my output. You can just see here. So I am going to print the elements of my array in a matrix. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and then I have 7, 8, 9. Clear with this? So first one is for loop is for controlling the row. The second for loop is for controlling the column. So I am just using the name of this array. How to initialize my multi-dimensional array? It is prepended by the integer data type followed by the name of the array. The first one is the row dimension and the second one is the column dimension. So inside this I am having this curly brace. I am storing some elements inside my array. And whenever I want to print something at my output, so I am just using this number array of I and j. So the first is the row dimension, the column dimension. So what are all the different elements that are stored in the corresponding dimensions? I am going to pick each and every element and this will be displayed at my output. So clear with this? So arrays is one important concept. So I have two different types of array. One is called as a single dimensional array and one more is called as a multi-dimensional array. Just take down this exercise. Find the error in the following code. Just take down this exercise. Find the error in the following code. Have you taken down? Just take down this exercise. Find the error in the following code. Till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. Any queries? If you are interested, you can register for 1 month internship on Java programming. Registration fee comes around 1500 rupees and after discount the fee comes around 799 rupees. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting 30 days of live sessions, 90 days of access to the records. You will be getting all the source codes, whatever I am sharing. You will be getting the downloadable presentations and you will be gaining more practical knowledge. If you are interested, you can register for 1 month internship on Java programming. The registration fee comes around 1500 rupees and after discount the fee comes around 799 rupees. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting 30 days of live sessions, 90 days of access to the records. You will be getting all the source codes, downloadable presentations. Till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. So in this 21 days masterclass, what we are going to see, so firstly I just discussed with you about the installation, Java installation. So what are the different data types, classes and objects. So I was discussing with you about loops, decision making statements, arrays. What do you mean by inheritance, overloading, overriding. I will be discussing with you about different OOPS concepts. And then I will be discussing with you about encapsulation, what do you mean by regular expression, exception handling. And I will be discussing with you about input-output stream, file input-output. So how to read the elements of a file, how to write some elements and threads concepts, what is the use of threads, deadlock, Java collections, and Java database connectivity, how to connect Java to the database. So and then finally I will be discussing with you about different algorithms. What do you mean by advanced encryption standard, AES algorithm. And I will be discussing with you about phonetic search, soundx algorithm, what is the use of password hash using MD5 algorithm. I will be discussing with you about different algorithms, what is the use of bubble sort and sorting an array using bubble sort, merge sort. So what do you mean by merge sort and how to sort an array using merge sort and quick sort. So all these are the different types of algorithms, reverse Shamit algorithm. And finally I will be discussing one final application, user level runtime security auditing for the cloud. So this is what we are going to see in this 30 days, 21 days masterclass. So please hurry up, you can just register for internship. So far I was discussing with you about different types of Java concepts, what is the use of loops, what is the use of arrays. So I have two different types of arrays. So I have a single dimensional array and I have multi-dimensional array. So next I am going to discuss with you about one more important concept in Java, methods. What do you mean by a method? So method is nothing but a collection in online portal. Today everything is becoming online. An e-commerce industry, Amazon, Flipkart, you can consider some other industry. For example, you can consider an online restaurant management system, hospital management system, hotel management system. Everything is becoming online. So when you consider this online websites, you can just imagine, for example, what are the different activities I am going to perform, sequence of activities. I am going to go for this modular programming. So whenever I want to define some separate methods, I want to calculate the annual net, that is amount, net purchase amount of a customer. So I want to calculate what are the total items bought by the customer. So I am going to define separate methods in order to perform different types of operations. So what is the use of methods in Java language? So method is nothing but a group of statements, a set of statements or a collection of statements. It is used to perform some specific task. Whenever I am going to call that method, it is going to perform some operation and I am going to get back the result. That is the main use of going for methods in Java, modular programming. So whenever I want to define any method, it is prepended by the corresponding data type. So I am having this integer data type followed by the name of the method. I am going to pass in two parameters or arguments. For example, int x and int y. These two are given as input parameters to this maximum method. So what is the use of this method? Whenever I am going to call this max method, it is going to find out the maximum of these two and I am going to get the corresponding return type, return value. Clear with this? So what do you mean by method? So all this results in the reduction of code size. With minimal code, I am going to achieve the maximum output. So code optimization. So this is the corresponding syntax. Whenever I want to define any method, so I have to use the access modifier followed by the return type followed by the name of the method. And inside this I am passing two parameters, integer x and integer y. These two are given as so I have two different types of methods. One is called as a predefined function and one more is called as a user defined function. What do you mean by predefined function? From the name you can just understand what do you mean by predefined method and what do you mean by a user defined method. So whenever I want to define any function or class, for example, I am defining a class with a class keyword followed by the name of the class, it is prepended by the public access modifier. So I can go for different types of access modifiers. It is prepended by the public access modifier. I am writing a main method, public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. So always the JVM comes in, the program execution starts from the main method. And system.out.print, the square root is math.square root of 9. So it is an inbuilt function. So if I want to find the square root, I am just calling the square root of whatever is the number. I am just passing the corresponding number here. Or if I want to find the maximum value or minimum value, I have to call the corresponding inbuilt function. And there is one more important method, it is called as a user defined method. So methods which are defined manually by the user, they are called as user defined method. Here with this, so this is one simple example. Let me just show you one example so that you will understand this better. So already I have created a web application. Inside this I have different folders. Whenever I want to create any new class, just right click and I am going to create a new Java class. So public static void main, the argument is passed as a string array. System.out.println. Whenever I want to define any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. And it is prepended by the public access modifier. So I can go for different types of access modifier. Most commonly I will be using public access modifier. Whenever I am giving the access level as public, so it is visible globally, I can go for private access modifier, I can go for protected. All these are the different types of access modifiers available in Java language. And inside this, I am defining a main method, public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. Always the JVM comes in, the program execution starts from the main method. So the square root is, I am having this math module dot operator, I am calling this inbuilt function called square root function. Square root of 9, so what is the square root of 9? 3 will be printed at my output. whichever inbuilt functions I have to call using this math module using dot operator, I need to call the corresponding inbuilt function. So I am just calling the square root function and then I am passing this 9. So what is the square root of 9? So 3 will be printed at the output. Here with this, so all these are the different types of inbuilt function. So I can go for a square root function. If I want to find the maximum value, so accordingly I have to go. So Java contains several inbuilt methods, predefined methods. So I can go for a max function. So if I want to find the maximum of a number, so I can go for a max function. Or if I want to find the minimum of a number, I can go for a min function. Whichever inbuilt functions I have to call using this math module using dot operator, I need to call the corresponding inbuilt function. So within simple brackets, I am just giving here as 9. So what is the square root of 9? 3 will be displayed at my console. Clear with this? So all these are the different things. So I can go for predefined functions or I can go for user defined function. So what do you mean by user defined function? So I am defining a class called division class. Let me just show you one more example of user defined function. Whenever I want to create any new Java class, I am just creating a new Java class here. So whatever is the class name, I am just giving the corresponding class name here. And under which project, under this I need to create the new class and I have to provide the location where I have to create this new class. And after providing all these details, I am just clicking the finish button. Whenever I want to define any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. For example, I am defining a class called division class. It is prepended by the public access modifier. So I can go for different types of access modifiers. It is prepended by the public access modifier. So inside this, I am coming inside public static void main. The argument is passed as a stringer. So always the JVM comes in, the program execution starts from the main method. And inside this I am initializing two numbers, int num1 equal to 20 and num2 equal to 2. So whenever I want to initialize any numbers, it is prepended by the corresponding data type. So division d1 equal to new division of, for example, I am trying to create an object of this division class. So d1 dot, I am calling this div function. For example, number 1 and number 2, these two are given as input parameters to this div method. Whichever inbuilt methods I have to call, so using this object, using dot operator, I need to call the corresponding inbuilt methods. So these two are given as input parameters, arguments to this div method. So and then I am defining a method called div and these two are given a and b, these two are given as input parameters. It is prepended by the corresponding data type. So in C equal to a by b. Whenever I am going to call this division method or division function, it is going to divide one number by the other and I am going to get back the corresponding result. So this is what is called as modular programming. So once I am going to write this method, it can be reused anywhere in the program. So whichever inbuilt functions I have to call using this object, using dot operator, I need to call the corresponding inbuilt function. I am stopping today. If you are interested, you can register for 1 month internship on Java programming. So registration fee comes around 1500 rupees, and after discount it comes around 799 rupees. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting 30 days of live sessions. You will be getting 90 days of access to the records. You will be getting all the source codes, downloadable presentations. If you are interested, you can register for 1 month internship on Java programming. So registration fee comes around 1500 rupees, and after discount the fee comes around 799 rupees. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting 30 days of live sessions, you will be getting 90 days of access to the records, all the source codes and downloadable presentation. Please hurry up. With this, I am just stopping today. Remaining things, we will see tomorrow, same time, same link. Thank you all.